And welcome to Sports Edition on Upper Level Productions, where the topics are bipolar like New York Spring Day, and no matter how much you did for a franchise, it's never enough. But first, before we do any introductions or do anything, we want to acknowledge the past tragedy that's happening in Santo Domingo at the nightclub. Um, right now, it's reported that 66 unfortunate souls have passed away, including former Met and Yankee pitcher Octavio Dotel. I just want to have Osiris give a quick.
Even though I was first born here, my parents and everybody else is from Dominican Republic. So my prayers go out to the people that was affected. We lost a lot of people, good people. So again, prayers to the people that was affected by the event.
And our hearts and souls are with them. Hearts and prayers. Now on to some breaking news. Denver Nuggets have fired their head coach Michael Malone after 10 seasons, and GM Calvin Booth will not be extended this year, which, aka, got the boot. Just coming from 2 years as champions. Guys, what's our thoughts?
Well, as everybody else, first shock. And for first, you hear news of the coach firing, you start to think of like, was the team playing bad? I think when Taylor Jenkins got fired, it was like, okay, well, the Memphis hasn't been playing well, but when the Nuggets fired Mike Malone, you're looking at, well, I mean, the Nuggets haven't been playing great, but it's like they're not bad. You know what I'm saying? Mike Malone is a championship winning coach, and 2 moves out. You know what I'm saying? It was very confusing, but then the news started to break, and you heard that this was more of a intentional internal beef between GM and coach, and ownership was just like, enough. Both of you got to go. But yeah, it's very surprising to say the least. So close to the playoffs, but the NBA is nothing short of surprising.
Yeah, I was dead ass shocked when I first got the news because I was like, out of all the coaches in the NBA, you're gonna fire him before the playoff starts. And again, so I was like, I had to wait to see what really go on. So the fact that it happened, the fact that it did happen because it's an internal issue, and it's not even an internal issue between the coaches and the players, it's between the coaches and the GM. Is I'm gonna say I'm fully against the firing because that reason. If it was between the coach and the player beefing, they don't like the scheme, like can happen with Memphis, I could understand. Still kind of weird that you're still firing them before they put the playoffs. But the fact that you're firing them two off the cusp of that, I just think it's the wrong idea to do that. So shocking, but I'm against it.
Hey, I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted. But hey, like all good teams, there's always a little drama behind it.
Real quick, it's not like the people are shocked, but it's not the first time this has happened. I do want to say that in history in the NBA, a coach did get fired and took over and won an NBA championship, which was Pat Riley. So in sports, lightning do strike in a bottle a couple of times, so you may never know. So,
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
So give him that juice. You may never know, bro.
On our next topic, we're going to give our flowers and congratulations to the UConn women's team, who to me was an upset, but wow, blowing out defending champs Don Staley's South Carolina's team, 82-59. And then the Florida men with an epic down to the wire win against Houston, 65-63. Now, the thing with Florida, they're coming back from both Final Four games, which is almost like the last 3 games were all come from behind.
From like 9 points, something like that, right?
Really quick, your thoughts on the championship this year?
Well, real quick, I know it came down to, it was a great game. Good game that came down to the wire. I know I don't put too much stock into the last shot that was not made. I mean, I wish he did get up the last shot, but I don't put too much pressure on them because they kids compared to men. If it was the NBA, I'd be like, God damn it, that's on you. But here me watching kids play at a championship level, I'm gonna give them a pass because I felt bad. I was like, and but they still should have got at least one shot up.
I'm not, because that was horrible. Huh? That was some backyard shit.
Yeah, then he couldn't touch it. Yeah. But again, I guess because again it's the kids and it's under pressure. That's why I give him a pass. Unlike if it was grown men and you're in the NBA, like honestly, y'all train for that. You know what I'm saying? But
hold that thought. But Matt, what you think?
I mean, I like the championship overall, pure hoops. I felt like it was like I was getting the NBA. I felt like Osiris always talks about the chess speed matches. I have to say this is probably like more like a checkers match, or a real quick game. It ain't really the thing move because you only have to do one game. But I always like to think about college where it's like you'd be on top of the world. You could have all this money. You could be the best team. You could But when it got to the line, you could get your butt smoked that day by a team that just wanted it more, not because they just paid a bunch of players to get all the money there. And that's why I feel like probably getting into the NIL stuff that will probably going to be an issue with later on down the line. But I enjoyed the championship this year. I'm surprised Florida won because they've been back so many times this year.
Your last thought was, what was it?
That I didn't, I don't put too much pressure on because they were kids on the last shot. I don't just the play was sloppy. If it was like the NBA, like grown men, that's what they comparing.
They're kids.
Yeah,
should be treated as amateurs, although they're getting paid as professionals. Yeah. So the question of the NILs, is it good or bad for? Because we're not saying that we're not for kids getting their money. I've been said the NCAA has been fleecing these kids for decades and decades on end. They're making billions while these kids are getting nothing. Or if they got something under the table, it was a problem.
It was a struggle for them. I think getting school lunch, the money for to eat was crazy. Like they D1.
So if they sold their sneakers, they get in trouble. That was a case one day.
So when you went to a school and when you were choosing the school, you were choosing it because the head coach was going to get you to the NBA.
Right.
You couldn't afford to go to a mid-level school or a low-level school and run that risk of not being exposed. You know what I'm saying? NIL kind of changes that because even the low-level schools has boosters, and the boosters can pay up in anything. You can get those stars that were originally said no. Again, it can bring parity, but we haven't seen that yet. And it's looking like the dominant schools are staying dominant. Is NIL good for the game?
I think there is equilibrium to everything at some point. I think you just got it's new. This is what's happening. I think at some point it equals out. I still believe that college basketball, anything can happen at some point. I still believe, maybe next season, maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe the favorites all get bounced out for a couple games and we got a bunch of no-level teams playing. And it just so happened to be the last couple of years we didn't. But, we got to give it time. I don't really know. I don't want to take the money away from the kids. And I don't really know how we kind of do this without, trying to take the money away from the kids. And I don't want to do that. I really do. I do agree. They've been getting fleeced for years and they deserve the money. But I know, I think give it some time. Maybe and hopefully it works itself out.
I'm pro kids getting all their money, every drop of a dollar. So let me get that out the way. But to answer this question, I'm gonna say it like this. Just thinking about it, because the way you just said things. If these kids get their money, so their money is also going to be based on their skill too, right? So it's not going to be like, okay. But I'm gonna say it like this: if the team, even though let's say team kid get their money, let's see if you one of those kids that still wake up in your pajamas instead of waking up with your silk pajamas because you got paid, because there could be a difference between even though you get paid and you go to a good school, but now you're comfortable because you got money. Right. So I'm always going to pick the school that's with the kids that are hungry to play and hungry to get to the NBA, but also got their money.
Maybe that ends up.
So I'm going to wait to see how that plays out.
I think that's forming out in this year.
And that's where those good teams maybe those good schools that had all that money, those things get lazy.
Was that a good answer?
No, that's a good answer. Maybe that's what happens.
Because they can sleep, they get comfortable. I always say some people get their money and they wake up in silk pajamas and they're not hungry anymore.
Should be a salary cap.
I mean, honestly, it's crazy that these D1 kids weren't getting money for school, for lunch and food and other things. It's like, why? You know what I'm saying? It's insane.
It's all part of the scholarship.
So, quick question: nobody can control how much kid A and kid B gets.
Right now, no.
So I'm not with the salary cap.
Get all that money
because you understand. Could we understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would understand if you're saying if all the kids get the equal amount or somehow, then I can understand salary cap. But this is what I was trying to ask the question thoroughly. Okay, so how is the NIL control? So I can answer this correctly. So if nobody can control that you get $5 million and I get $2 million and you say this should be a salary cap, then I'm gonna say no, this shouldn't be a salary cap. Because they can't control how much we get.
All right, so 2-part question. Moving into the association, the Western Conference has their seeds 4-8. Pretty much can even change as we're talking right now. The Lakers pretty decent. Not a lot for that third seed. Owning most of the tiebreakers is why I'm saying they're decent position. Out of all the teams, who's going to fall into that playing round? Who should fall into that playing round? Who's more beneficial is one more I should ask.
Want me to go first? So you go first, man? All right. I got the Warriors, even though I said from before a few weeks ago, the Warriors going from 11 to 6, which they did. But now we're talking about today, we're talking about how the seeding could play out. The reason why I'm going to say the Warriors is because, just like you just said in the beginning, the tiebreaker, because they all could play great. Let's say they all finish with the same record, but because the way they beat each other in the season is how the seeding is going to play out. So, unfortunately, even though I would like the Warriors, out of all the teams you say there, because of the way the tiebreaker ends up, that team might be the Warriors. So it'll just suck, but
I think that might be beneficial.
I got a hot take for them though.
I say Denver. Denver's the only team out of the teams in the right who are not in the play right now. Denver's the only team who's lost for. You're talking about the firing of their coach, which may or may not end up to be the spark of the bottle, may end up to be it, may end up not being it. However, habits do carry, and if not, Denver is also bottom half in the league in defense. They do not do anything well, and that's also probably part of that's why they fired Mike Malone, but it couldn't really be. But Denver has not done anything well this season other than Jokic, and to be honest, that is what was going to carry them into the playoff, Jokic. And right now, I feel like
I think they had a bad month, but I want to say they had a bad season. They had a
bad. They didn't have a bad. They
had a bad March.
They've been up and down.
March.
But
they were a second seed team at one point.
That's what I'm saying. They were up and down. They were up and down. This is 1 week I saw them at 2, next time I saw them at 4, and then they were back at 2.
I was about to say that.
Because they weren't consistent.
I agree.
They usually
I agree with that, but the fact that they were hovering 2 and 4 because of the record, not because much of the winning or the losing, but the fact that you hovered there is why I say they were playing good up to March when injuries started mounting up. Murray's out with calf injury. Remember, Jokic just dropped a 60 triple-double. Right. I mean, so they played good. It's just that they had a bad month, and now they're on a 4-game losing streak. So that's why you see them dipping. And now like you said, they fired their coach now. But to say they had a good season compared to last month.
Yeah, I mean I'm not saying their season was horrible.
No, I know that.
But there are some issues with Denver that I do feel as to why they are in this position that nobody's talked about, simply because Jokic's offensive ability some games to just totally knock that out. You know what I'm saying? It's like some games was like Jokic's offense strictly was in the game. You don't talk about the fact that you let this team shoot this much threes.
But it's like I said, Murray's out. Who else is out? I think Porter's out.
Right.
And I think Aaron Gordon's out.
Also speaks to the issue with Mike Malone and the GM because of the 2 defensive key pieces that were let go in that 2023 championship that were such a key, and Denver has not been the same team since that.
Well, I agree with you with that as far as them not being the same team as far as their championship team. I get that. But I'm just saying as far as just talking about this season, they were before injuries, they were a decent team. Like I said, they were hovering between the 2 and the 4 seed. 2 and the 4 meaning that their record was good to say that they were hovering good enough to stay on top of the West.
They were.
Until now they lost Murray for now. Murray's supposed to be expected back. That's why I see them maybe falling. Maybe not in the play-in, but honestly, Murray is expected back.
To Cyrus's point, like by March, we were talking about them almost every show.
Denver Nuggets?
Yeah. Diamond picked Denver Nuggets to be one. We were talking about
them like every show, and
he liked Denver back.
Once we got to like March or so, kind of died down because it was more
the injuries ramped it up,
and they weren't making much noise for me. I felt like for the guy who chooses the topics,
But the injuries just started mounting. There wasn't injured all year round.
Like, honestly, what do we talk about Denver this
Injuries started mounting them now. I'm just saying.
If it wasn't for the breaking news?
Bad timing.
We were speaking about Denver, and then they lost to a certain team in March, and then all of a sudden, we were no longer speaking about Denver.
No, but we're not going there.
We're not going there. You see what they do?
We're not going there.
One day in February. But they made it seem like they lost all their games after that.
Go ahead.
So moving on to
you see what I'm saying?
Moving on to the Eastern Conference. If you know, you know. All right. Moving on to the Eastern Conference of the playoffs. Everything seems locked. Even the play-ins are pretty much locked. They just decided which seeding they're in.
What's the team in the play-ins? Damn, I don't know if you want to
Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, and Miami.
I like Atlanta to actually get out of that.
Yeah,
No, I
think they're
Atlanta's
destined to be
Atlanta.
team. Yeah.
I think Atlanta's. I mean, Atlanta's gonna be playing, but I feel Atlanta's gonna do what comes out to playing. Atlanta gets in the play spot.
This is where I could take the conversation of is who's playing good and who's been playing good out of the list you name in the playing is the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls has been playing good. So I'm picking the Bulls to come out of the play-in.
I can argue that.
Two teams, right? Two teams from that.
But Orlando Magic. Well, here's the thing.
But who's going to come out? I'm going to say who's coming out the play-in, and who's coming out the play-in. I say is the Bulls. Who's going to be? Who's going
to grab the 7th seed?
Yeah, to be in the play-in. Yeah, right. You have to have a play-in tournament, right? So there's 4 out of the 4 teams you just named. I'm taking the Bulls to come out of the play-in.
First, okay.
Yeah.
And then who will be the second team? If you have one.
You
like the Magic.
You just named 4 teams. Didn't you just name them? So you only get one winner.
There's 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
There's going to be 7
That's why I was like 7 and 8.
Oh, okay. I thought you could be one winner of the play.
Yeah, I know. I just had one in the question. But
so then.
So it's Bulls. Technically, 7 and 8 can be the winner of the play.
So you raised Bulls, and what was the other 3? You said Atlanta.
Bulls?
No, I said Bulls already got. I said Bulls already playing. So you said
Atlanta, and Miami.
Orlando. I'm gonna say Orlando.
I say Orlando.
Yeah.
I think. What they're doing there is.
Yeah, I think it'll be those two.
They need one more piece. I feel they just one more piece to be a good NBA East team.
And injuries hampered their season too. When they lost their 2 best players.
Bunch of Paulo and Franz.
They went. But they came back. But by the time they came back, the season was already lost down. So, but they were still getting
right now. They're 7.
Yeah.
Shout out
that's why they still locked. They're still there.
To the Detroit Pistons. I cannot wait for that Knicks Detroit Pistons first.
And that's what it looks like if you go to the bracket. Right?
I can't wait.
I forgot to check the East. I was more.
I think it was like that for a minute. The East was set for a minute. Honestly,
it was obvious.
Set for a minute.
It was obvious. It was.
But right now. But I mean, Detroit technically can still rise. They're only a game and a half behind Milwaukee.
Who?
Detroit.
Oh, Milwaukee Knicks first round.
The Detroit Pistons can go. They're playing who?
Who do we play first round?
Oh, aren't they like the 4th seed?
No, right? No, the Knicks are the third. The Pacers are 4, and the Bucks are 5th.
Pistons 6.
So and then the Pistons are 6. So right now the playoffs ended today. It'll be Knicks Pistons.
I would say you should have
Cavs.
Pacers.
Yeah. It looked like it would take it the Knicks 3 and 6. So if that's 3 and 6, that's the first round, right? One plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, yeah, and 4.5. So if the playoffs started today, I think that's going to be out of that first round, that's going to be the best game.
All right,
the best.
So if the playoffs ended today, right?
Started today, yeah.
If the season ended today and the playoffs start, right now in the play-ins, you got the Bulls versus the Heat to face the loser of Magic versus the Hawks.
So I said the Bulls come out.
1 seed waits for the 8th seed. 2 seed waits for the 7th seed. Pacers will face the Bucks, and the Knicks will face the Pistons.
Yeah, here you go. So that's already going to be a lock. That's already kind of locked in. So,
I mean, like I said, Pistons and Milwaukee, they can switch. They're only a game and a half behind each other.
Yeah, a game and a half with 5 games left. And who has the easiest schedule? Depends on who has the easiest schedule. All right, yeah, I could see if the Knicks get Milwaukee, I can see the Knicks coming out easier. I got the Knicks coming out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying too. I'm like,
it's just that
get Milwaukee. I think the Pistons can snatch them. The Pistons can take.
It's just that if the Knicks have played the Pistons, I'm going to have to say.
Yeah, the Pistons could take.
I would like the Knicks to come out, but it would have surpird me if the Pistons came out. So
they go 7 though.
So hell yeah, I think so. I agree.
All right, guys, you know what time it is. If you like what's going on, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure you get up with all our videos. But it is
Booyaka, NBA trivia time. Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, we're still working on that.
I thought I was today. Kind of thought of you when I did that.
I do know your YouTube status, right?
Yeah, I kind of thought of you when I did that. I was like, let me do that. Let me see what happens when I do Booyaka.
All right, so Cyrus, take it away.
All right, guys, this is the best segment of the show. Osiris's trivia time. All right, guys, question number one. It is who is number 4 on the list who scored the most points in an NBA game. Number 1 was Will Chamberlain by 100 points in 1962. Kobe Bryant, 81 in 2006. And Will Chamberlain again with 78 with 1961.
Regular season, right?
Somebody did this last year in the 24 season. I don't know if you know the points. I'm going to keep it to myself. But it's the reason why I'm giving you 2024 is because 4 people are tied at number 4, but I'm only giving you last season. So who was that player?
I was going for Luka.
You locked in?
Locked in.
Who you got?
I think he had one of those games. If not, it was Kyrie.
Not even Mitchell.
Locked in?
Locked in.
The answer is Luka Doncic, 73 points in 2024.
Was Donovan Mitchell on all this?
No.
Didn't he have tons?
You want to know who else was on the list? Will, not Klay Thompson, the dad.
Michael Thompson?
And Will Chamberlain again. So, matter of fact, Will Chamberlain was on this like 5 times alone. So I'm just like,
I mean, it was the stuff.
Yeah.
76 points, is it less than that?
No, he probably had less than that. He probably had 70. There's a list. You could go. There's a list. This one I actually did. This one is I actually did it myself. I looked. This one I did myself.
Look at 70.
Question number 2, because question number 2 is who was the first NBA Finals MVP?
Lou Alcindor.
Question. You locked in?
Not really.
The first NBA Finals MVP.
Pete Steve Maravich.
I think the answer is obvious.
But I'm going with Lou Alcindor.
You locked in?
Locked in.
I said Bill Russell because I don't know.
Bill Russell.
That's before his time.
Talking about somebody who won 30 years before my
Remember, Bill Russell was playing before 1969.
Oh, damn. It might be cool.
Born 1995.
1969. It's going to be, the answer is, you want to change it before? Because the answer was wrong.
Maravich.
Nope. The answer is Jerry West, 1969, the logo.
You should have known that. I should have known that.
Yeah.
I think I said that. I was like, I think you guys might know this one, but it's Jerry West, the logo. Now, last week we did the kind of who am I NBA player when at the draft. Well, this one's kind of different, kind of the same thing. Now, this is an NBA player. Who am I? He played for the Nets, the Wolves, the Suns, the Bulls, the Blazers, the Hawks, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Warriors, and the Wizards. Who am I?
That Wizards started throwing me off.
How many journeymen in the freaking league that play so many teams? Oh man.
I don't know. And you know what's crazy? When I said this, I was like, I think they might know the answer by the amount of teams. Because even though I named the teams, but I think the answer is more as the
3 people. Right? Robert Horry's one.
The answer is more Robert Horry did not play for these amount of teams. But I understand he played for the Rockets, the Lakers, and the Spurs. That's 3 teams.
He played for a couple. He was in Detroit too.
He was in Detroit?
Yeah, he was.
I don't remember him in Detroit. You got a good memory then, because I remember
think
Detroit.
of an NBA journeyman, bro. Like
Bruce Bowen.
No, Bruce Bowen played for the Spurs, and I don't remember. And I don't remember him on the Spurs.
The players that play for teams, the players that play for teams like this, like these amount of teams, be the one. You know what I'm saying? You don't just like.
If I give you the answer, they're gonna laugh your ass off because they're gonna be like, I knew that answer. Because, like you said, he was a journeyman, and the amount of teams he played for, and there's one player that you could say. Who was he
drafted by?
Well,
the Nets.
I mean, you said it before.
No, I didn't. No, played. This wasn't in the order.
Damn.
Like I said, it's different from the Jason Kidd one. It would have been too much. I would have been like,
there's one journeyman I'm thinking about, but
say it. Just say it.
I was thinking that Duncan Gerald Green.
Nope.
Grandmama.
Nope. It's recent too. It's not like it's not like recent, but he's in this this era and last era.
Anthony?
No, Carmelo Anthony only played for the Knicks, the Nuggets, and the Houston, and the Blazers. He only played for 4 teams. Nope. The answer is.
Go ahead. Dunce caps.
Jamal Crawford.
Holy crap.
Look at him. Once I said the name. Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
He played for the Nets, the Wolves, the Suns, the Bulls, the Blazers, the Hawks, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Warriors, and the Wizards. Again, it wasn't the amount who he played for, is how many teams. Right there, you can say, man, he played for mad teams. Jamal Crawford is that player.
I forgot. Because when he got to LA, that's when he got
it was like, I ain't gonna hold you. You would have to know Jamal Crawford at that time in the league to know he can't.
Well, that's why I played. He played in this era and last era because he played for all these years.
Yeah.
He played for like close for 20 years.
In my head, I know Clippers.
So,
Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, he played Knicks, right? Mm-hmm. Bulls. We watched him growing up. We played for. Yeah, I just look. And then quick history, guys. I want to start doing this every week too. Quick history. The first ever NBA champion was the Philadelphia Warriors in 1947. So I want to start doing a little history too. It gives you guys a little.
I didn't know that.
Look. So here's the list too.
All right, but if you like what we're doing, comment, subscribe. You know the deal, guys. Quick hits. Osiris, we'll start with you. The NL West is looking crazy good with some surprising San Francisco Giants keeping it tight with the Padres and the Dodgers. I remember I said the Padres. But it's early. But the Giants ain't no bums. Can they keep up with the Dodgers and get in the playoffs?
Quick question. What is the Dodgers' prediction of wins in total of this season?
That's about 1.
Once you said 1, the answer is no. Hell no. Next question.
Projection.
No, I understand, but the regular projecting 100, and you saying the Padres or the Giants? No.
Okay.
Not
Matt,
even close.
Quickly, Jimmy or Luka, short term, who really won the trade?
Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy Butler Golden State Warriors before this were 11th. Well, you guys told me before the show.
Yep.
11th. They're right now in 6th with the potential to either keep themselves in the playoffs, jump into the playoffs. But they're definitely better than where they were before Jimmy. The Lakers were kind of always playing good. They were kind of up there already. They got Luka. And also Jimmy, to be quick, was the win now move.
How many losses they got together playing together? 1 or 2? 3. They got 3 losses playing together.
3 losses. So yeah, in the short term, I feel like right now the Golden State made that move to let's see how far we can go right now with this season, Steph. And you're gonna see.
Can I say a quick hot take, real quick? I'm not a type of person I like that gloats, but I secretly was like, if the Warriors come out and win the NBA championship this year, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. And I was gonna wait till they got to the NBA finals. So that's a hot take. I'm blowing up my secret there, but now you know what's on my mind. So.
Like, comment, subscribe. Now to editorials. All right. Which sport record is more sacred? With Ovi over there breaking the all-time goal scored. Which is more sacred? Basketball's all-time scoring? NHL all-time goal scored? Baseball's home run record?
Want to take this one for it, Matt?
I'm going to say baseball's home run record simply of how hard it is to hit baseball. And how hard it seems to be how hard it will seem to hit a baseball going into the future as pitching becomes elite. So baseball.
And to put it in order, I got baseball, hockey, and basketball. The reason why I got baseball first is, again, because like you said, it's hard to hit the ball. Pitching has now gone so sophisticated, even though now they introduced the torpedoes bat. But I do think that there's one player that might could break the record, could be Aaron Judge. But again, that's how sacred that record is. The reason why I got hockey number 2 is because of the skill set. One, for a grown-ass man to play on ice with a hockey stick, hit a puck, and get into a net that's kind of like 99% defended, I think that's impressive. And basketball is just because, you're running back and forth, a ball into a net, compared to the 3, baseball, hockey, basketball.
With our special guests, because I was editing all that. Guys, we're at that point in the show where we let each other know where we can find you at.
Jaime_V, Instagram, TikTok, and PSN. And for my Dominican people out there, what's up?
The Black Obi-Wan on Twitter.
And Up in Level Productions, you know where to find us. Stay up, stay level. Peace.
Appreciate it, guys. Choice. Let's see.
Yo, peace and blessings. Thank you for watching Up in Level. This is your boy Fabito. If you like this show, you like the sports edition, like, comment, subscribe, get involved. Peace.